Hey everyone, I'm here with Teresa Coates with Shannon Fabrics, and I love these. My grandchildren love these. My mother would love this. They're so tactile.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
But there's some tricks with this fabric, and today we're going to address binding because it's totally different from anything you've ever seen or done before. Before we get to the binding, this is just a flip and sew, right?
Exactly.
Okay, and everything I need to make this is in a kit, so I don't even have to think.
You don't even have to think. No, it's all there, ready to go.
Getting better by the minute. Okay, so let's talk about binding.
Okay.
So how wide do you cut this?
We cut it at 1 3/4 inches.
All right. Is that important?
It is important because it needs to be that measurement to do the whole flip over that it does. Yeah.
Okay.
To match up.
And that's what? That's not a 1/4 inch.
No, we use a 1/2 inch seam allowance for everything that we do.
All right. Okay. Now what?
So we've cut our binding strip, which is included in the kit. We cut those with the fabric, so they're 60 inches long. You'll sew them together just like you would a traditional binding. Okay. Then we're going to stitch them all the way around. What I like to do is I pin it periodically and then use my Wonder clips in
Love
between
those.
to keep
I
it in
love
check.
those clips.
They are so good, and I just stitch all the way around with a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way to the corner. Then I'll show you what we do here.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we stitch along here 1/2 inch till we get about a 1/2 inch from the corner. It doesn't matter if it's perfectly. I just stick a pin in about there, and then I actually rotate my fabric and stitch off the corner just like that.
All right. This is looking familiar to me.
Okay, so it's very much like we do a traditional binding. Then we're going to pull this up, hold it down, flip it. Okay, at this point, the only thing that's different about this is I want to make sure that this fold at the corner is just below my raw edge, and that'll keep that corner nice and tight.
Oh, okay.
So I pin it, hold it in place, and then I'm going to do the same thing again and Wonder clip it down this edge and stitch it all the way around.
Now you have a trick on joining the ends together.
Absolutely.
And again, I want to point out that it's going to be raw edge, which just blows my mind.
Absolutely. Super easy. So once we've stitched it all the way around, I'm going to leave myself a good gap in the middle here. Okay, leave at least 10 inches just so I have some play in there. Then we're going to do it a little bit funky way here. What I do is I take my two tails and I bring them about where I want them to meet up. And I bend them so that they're about 45 degrees. Okay?
Okay.
And then I leave a little gap in between there. Can you see that? Okay, and the reason I do that is because this fabric stretches. So this won't work with traditional patchwork. This is a cheater method for cuddle only. Okay, we're gonna put my fingers down real hard, hold it in place, and then I pin over. And then I just pin through.
You're kind of pinning this where the seam line's gonna be?
I'm pinning where the seam line is gonna be, sort of. But then I need to bring this over here and I need to fix it. So I just bring it over, I repin it. I don't move it too much, just straighten it up. And then I repin it so that I can show where my seam line is going to be in between. And I do the same thing where I stitch in between the pins here. I stitch between one corner to the other, stitch that, trim it, you're gonna sew it down the rest of the way.
Well, let's take a look at where you have sewn it down. Here, okay, here's the back side, right?
Yep, that's with the seam allowance.
And then you flip it around.
And then we just zigzag it down.
I know. When Teresa explained this on the phone to me, I couldn't believe it. Now, what about super hairy fabrics? Grab the Cuddle one over there with the lambs. This is like super hairy. Any tricks on doing this?
This stuff is easy. Just use a stiletto to sort of hide the stuff underneath, or keep it from going underneath your foot. But it actually hides all of your stitches. You can see I did a big zigzag here, but once you push the fabric over, you'll never see it again.
And that is the miracle of working with this fabric. I mean, this quilt probably took 2 hours only, right?
Yeah.
I can't believe
it's a really quick project.
So everyone, go to your local quilt shop and ask for Shannon kits, or build your own. This stuff is wonderful. It gets a 5-star out of 5 in my book.
Thanks.
Thanks, Teresa.